Hi friends, it's Brittany at Ink and Papyrus and welcome back to my channel. You know, oftentimes every fall before the Halloween season starts and I'm looking to do some fall crafting and journaling, and well before Christmas starts, I will go back through my journals to gather some inspiration. But this year I am going back through my journals for some different reasons. Namely because I have a handful of unfinished projects. I made this about 3 years ago and I love it. It's gorgeous. I don't know why so some journals I don't finish just because I'm not thrilled with the direction they're going. There's something about it I'm not happy with, and so I give up and come back to it later. But this is gorgeous. Like, I really love everything about this journal. So I don't know why I didn't finish it, aside from the fact that normally in November I get extremely excited about Christmas crafting and it just goes by the wayside. Whatever I don't finish by November 1st, I'm guilty of setting it aside and letting it be. I wish I could say this was an anomaly. However, I also have a second unfinished fall journal here from, I think the year before this was like very early in my journaling career. Again, some stuff that's done, and then after the first part you see a lot of blank pages, and I have no excuse because fall is such a long holiday. It's not just a Halloween journal, and I love seasonal crafting, but nevertheless, again, another unfinished project. This is a little less unfinished, but nevertheless, it is still unfinished. Inside is mostly, actually, I'd say 90% of what I wanted to accomplish with this journal I have. However, there is a second removable mini journal that shouldn't be hard to finish. It's literally like 99.9% done because this is all that I have left, and yet somehow it's managed to stay unfinished. And for the last of them, I have one more journal, which is again also, which is probably the most frustrating part. I'm absolutely in love with this journal. It is also about 95% of the way done. It's mostly journaling that's kind of holding me back. I really wanted to do a little bit of, I left a lot of journaling room in here and I haven't gotten around to it, and I'm kind of ashamed of myself. There were different recipes, songs, and some journaling I wanted to put in here and I never did. So this channel has really challenged me to finish what I start, because I want to practice what I preach, and I always tell you guys just to muster on through. If you don't like something, keep going, you know, until you're happy with it. And I never seem to take my own advice. So realistically, I don't think I'm going to finish all of these journals before Halloween or before November 1st, but I really want to try and finish at least one or two of them. And I want to do it with you guys and hopefully give you some inspiration along the way. So the rest of this video is going to be sped up and cut up a little bit so that I have the opportunity to share multiple different layout and project ideas with you guys. So as I was saying, this Dia de los Muertos journal is mostly complete. There are really just a couple of pages that don't have anything on them, and like I said, most everything left that I had to do with this involves journaling in some way, shape, or form. But as you see, I'm kind of just flipping through the pages here, reliving some of the things. I haven't looked in this journal for a while, and I forgot all the goodies that were in here. As you can see, I just decided to include one of the paper dolls I recently made and clip that paper doll to the page. That page has a song in Spanish written on it, and I thought this was a great fit since the paper doll is holding a guitar. If you are interested, I will include the link to the video where I created these paper dolls. There were two of them, part one and part two. I will include the links above and in the description box. Here I am just marveling at a scrappy notebook. It is just a piece of paper folded in half with sewn bits, sewn extra pieces of paper, and I put a piece of fabric over the stitching since I wasn't happy with the stitching. Very, very simple, but I love using these as extra journaling room. I made this removable folio to go with the journal. I had a lot of De los Muertos paper pads left and some scraps and some other pieces I wanted to put into the journal, but the journal had already bulked up, and so I when that happens, oftentimes I will just make a removable folio or some kind of a journal to accompany the larger journal. So I'm not going to be doing a whole lot more in this journal on camera just because, as I said, a lot of it is just journaling that has to be done. But here I'm writing um, about more about the holiday, why they celebrate it, how they celebrate it, the dates that it's celebrated, and again, just doing writing down some recipes of the traditional Mexican dishes and some more of the customs that go along with the holiday. I should also mention I have done full flip throughs for many of these journals. I will include the links to those above and in the description box as I feature each of them. For the Dia de los Muertos journal, I will also include the link above and in the description box if you would like to see the full journal. So this journal here is the Edgar Allan Poe inspired journal, and this is the one with the black fabric cover with the gold flowers on top. As many of you may know, I am allergic to white space, and so I just had a graphic image of this Edgar Allan Poe bingo card, and I had to figure out something to do with the rest of the page. So to emphasize the bingo card, I just will go ahead and go around it with this distressed crayon. Um, Actually, it was the gelato. It's the Faber-Castell gelato and iced coffee. I do try and make a point to put any products that I use in the description box below, so you can take a look there. But I absolutely love how these react with the water. And I just want to emphasize the bingo card itself and make it look a little bit more distressed. And then I start just making little kind of chips and put words that match the chips down below, things that make me think of Halloween, things that I associate with spooky season. And I just think it's a great kind of fun way to fill up the page, and the phrases go along with the bingo card. So I have a few blank pages in a row and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I started looking through my digital images and found this haunted house and eventually realized I wanted to create some kind of night theme, spooky house inspired theme. And sometimes I find that white pages are really, really intimidating and I like to break them up, and usually it gets the creative wheels turning, and it sort of just allows you to feel free to kind of mess the page up further. You don't have to be worried about messing it up. It's already smudged. So I usually like to scribble on the page or just get out my stamp pad and start making some marks. And I continue on just taking that gelato. It's the dark Faber-Castell gelato in iced coffee, and then adding a layer below it that is, it's the Tim Holtz Distress Crayon. It's a lot lighter, and they're both very water reactive, and I'm just going to start blending the two together to create a nice night sky and a backdrop for the haunted house and some other things we are going to put on the page. So next you'll see me looking through some digital images. I'm just trying to figure out what else I want on this page aside from the house. Obviously you don't need to use digital images. That's just kind of the theme I was going for here. These are mostly from the Graphics Fairy. I just copied and pasted them into a Word document so I can easily size the images. You can do the same just with images you find from the internet. so you don't have to feel compelled to purchase any digital image packs. I do like the graphics vary because if you pay the monthly subscription fee, I think it's either $9 or $10, you have access to their entire library of images and themed bundles. Check it out if you haven't already. They do some great, not just digital images, but some great tutorials you will also have access to online if you are a member. Not sponsored. I really like them. So check them out. After all that, I kind of decided the only thing that was small enough to fit on the page that looked right next to the house was this cute little die cut pumpkin. And after I glue the pumpkin down, I just take out my whiteout pen and start making some stars over the distress crayons. And I absolutely love how either the whiteout pens or white gel rollers, I love how they look over the dark backgrounds. Just dabbing a little bit will create some stars for you, especially if you're working with a really dark medium like the top part of that sky there. And yeah, never underestimate the power of just a white gel pen. And don't be afraid to add little personal touches. I still thought the house scene was a little bit incomplete, so I just cut out a couple of pieces to mimic the stand of a mailbox, the mailbox, and the little flag that you put up and down when you put stuff in your mailbox. I went ahead and added a couple more die cuts to the layout to finish it. I thought the ghost flying above the spooky house was perfect. And finally, I do like tying the two pages together if I can. I like at least having some kind of shared elements. So I decided to cut out one of the digital images, which was a key, as in key to the spooky house, and I glued that down to the page in front of it. Of course, this is purely optional. You don't have to do this. There really are no rules. So like I said earlier, one of the reasons why some of these journals are unfinished is because I really didn't take the time to actually do the journaling in them that I had planned. And sometimes that's because I'm not sure what to journal about, especially when we're talking about a theme like spooky season. I'm not really including pictures of myself and my family and friends and things that I do around the holiday in these because it is a specific theme. So then I sort of am like, well, what do I write about this? Well, get on Google. Just Google spooky season, see what you find. And sure enough, I found a list of the most haunted places in the United States, and one of some of the most frequently visited haunted houses and land. And so I just simply made a list of those here, and I thought that was a really cool addition next to the haunted house scene. So sometimes when I'm in a slump and I'm not sure what to do, one of my favorite things to do is just layer down pieces of paper or fabric and start to collage. And sometimes just putting together a backdrop will help me kind of come up with a clever layout idea or help steer me at least in the general direction and figure out what I want to do. And I realized as I was putting down the black and gold fabric and the black glitter paper that I wanted to kind of do something a little bit more glamorous and fabulous. And I thought I saw the word bewitched and I thought, oh, well, this would be a really cool theme and a cool backdrop for a witch, and it kind of went from there. I should mention that this is still the Edgar Allan Poe theme journal, and I have done a flip through on this before. I will put that in the link in the description box below. Sometimes we don't use supplies because we just forget we have them, and then once we finally drag them out, we can't stop crafting with them, and that's how I feel about these Tim Holtz Distress Crayons. I absolutely love these shimmer watercolors, and I just wanted to distress the pages a little bit more, so I just dipped my brush in some water and put it in the paint and just started splashing it all around. So the layout on this page is just meant to complement the page next to it. Since the page to the right, the theme is Bewitched, I thought, well, let's make a cauldron. And I made a cylindrical top to try and give it a little bit of depth so it looks like items are popping in and out of the cauldron. I put a label on it that says poison and started stacking up some things that you may find in a witch's brew. Don't be afraid to look for other sources of images and ephemera. I actually end up cutting up my Nat Geo magazine. There was an article on bats, and I thought how perfect for bewitched soup. Don't take these things too seriously. I mean, it seems kind of whimsical to create like a poisonous soup or a witch's brew, but I don't know, it's kind of all in good fun. And, sometimes a page doesn't have to have a purpose. Sometimes the purpose can just be having fun putting the page together. And that's what I do here. I wasn't sure what to do with this cute little specimen card slide from the Graphics Fairy printables, so I ended up just deciding to write on it. I think actually these would be really cute if you took the time to take a craft knife and cut out the white part and actually use them as a specimen card, but I thought this would be perfect to label my witch's brew, so that's what I ended up doing with it. And finally, I had to figure out something to do with the other side of this paper clip, so I end up just tucking a bookmark kind of styled digital image under it, and this is perfect for adding some extra journaling room to a layout that otherwise takes up the entire page. So I decided for the next layout I wanted to create something that looks a little bit haunted, and I found this really pretty old vintage looking picture of this girl and decided that I wanted to include some component of surprise. And in journals, I love including elements of surprise or something that prompts a reader or the viewer of the journal to look and find out more. And in this case, I chose to kind of hide her under a flip up. So before I actually put the fabric flip up down, I actually create a page tab. Page tabs are great for separating signatures or helping people find a specific section of the journal or just for decorative purposes, which is sort of why I put this here. I love the black and the lace together. I think it looks very Victorian, just like the girl in the picture here. So here you'll see me gluing down the flip up. There are different ways to do this. You can simply glue down a top section of the fabric and flip it up that way. You can also sew it to the page, or you can glue and or sew the fabric to a piece of paper and then glue the piece of paper down, and that allows the fabric to hinge a little bit more. I hope that makes sense. I used a bow die cut to decorate the fabric a little bit and make it look a little bit more glamorous. And then I put a digital image on the flip out. I think adding elements of interest on the flip out just kind of prompts somebody to flip it up, which is what you want them to do. So I usually like to decorate or put something interesting on the flip up itself. I don't know about you guys, but I end up loving the way that this turns out. So I kept this layout very simple. There was this really pretty page of some dark roses, and I decided to put one of my paper dolls on this page. I ended up taking some embossed off-white paper and applying some gilding wax to it, and I absolutely love how this turned out. I ended up applying that as a page tab, and that's pretty much all I did to the page. So I think for now that's all I'm going to do of this Edgar Allan Poe journal. There isn't too many more pages that I have to finish, so let's set this one aside and let's pull out another one of the unfinished journals. So I'm actually really excited about this journal. This is a fall/harvest journal. It has some elements of Halloween in it, but it is a lot more than that. And as you can tell by the cover, as you can probably tell by the cover, I made this very early. This was actually one of the first journals I ever made. and so it is very simplistic from start to finish. So I haven't looked in this journal in quite some time. I couldn't even remember what was in here. You'll see me playing around with some different things. I take mesh from like a fruit bag to see if I can create a flip up, and I was just playing around with a couple of different things. And I ended up just deciding to make a belly band on that pattern paper there because I like the pattern. I don't want to cover it up, but it's kind of too busy to really write on it or do anything else. So I was like, okay, I'll just create a belly band. And the thing I love about belly bands is not only is it a great way to store your ephemera, but it also allows you to do something else to the page while still being able to basically see the page in its entirety once you take out the ephemera. I decided that in the belly band I want to create a little booklet. I have these Halloween paper packs, and the paper I was looking at was like this really, really cute cat witch paper. So I ended up just creating a booklet out of that. I love layering and adding texture, so I end up putting a piece of a doily on the front, and I found a die cut cat that I wanted to add, and by backing it with the doily, I found that the doily kind of mutes the really busy pattern, so it still allows the cat to stand out. I end up doing a couple of other things to the booklet, including gluing down a digital image of a cat about halfway so that I can use it as a tuck. I do end up pulling out one of Maya Michaels paper pads, the Harvest slash Fall collection, to try and find some other decorative pages to use in my booklet. I did do a video flip through of some of the fall and Christmas themed paper packs to try and give you a better idea as to the kinds of paper they have inside. I know this is coming out a little late probably for you to be purchasing fall paper pads, but if you would like to see some of the Christmas paper pads, I have some more information on that. I will include that above and in the description box. Usually when I'm working with really busy pattern paper like this one, I like to break it up with some blank pages, maybe not white, but off-white, some solid color. I think this is great because it gives you a place to journal or draw or sketch or whatever you'd like to do. And it also just kind of breaks, I don't know, it seems like it's a break for the eye, at least for me. I found this black, white, and gray ribbon that I thought just matched the booklet perfectly, so I just took the ribbon and glued some right along the tops of the blank pages to kind of make it stand out a little bit more. Alternatively, you could layer and glue some additional pages and stack them on top of each other and then put the ribbon on top to make a tearaway notebook. I think the layout in the cat booklet is adorable, so I thought it was time to move on. And I have this like really pretty leaf paper, and it's a really nice neutral background, so I thought I would write some of my favorite things about fall on it. I know it seems really simple, but I actually think that these are the kinds of things that I like looking back on most when I'm going through my past journals. Just experiences, thoughts, memories, and favorites at the time. In this case, it's favorite things about fall. Speaking of favorites, I love writing down favorite food and drink recipes, especially in the fall. What I'm writing down here is one of my favorite drink recipes. It's a hot toddy and it's made by infusing liquor in a jar. So basically, you take a mason jar and you put some apple cider, some apples, some cinnamon sticks, some fresh squeezed lemon, and a couple of other things, and you top it off with some rum and let the liquor infuse for about 3 days, and then you can drink it. And the infusion jars are just fabulous. If you're interested, I will try and remember to put the recipe for this drink in the description box below. Please try it out and let me know how you like it. And if you're not a rum person, I think a darker, especially like a spiced liquor, would also work fabulously. As I'm sure you guys know by now, I'm a huge fan of incorporating recycled packaging and other things into your journals. These are the day-to-day things that I keep that I love putting in my journals. I think it gives a little bit of flair and just a personal touch. So I'm just kind of flipping through and seeing what I've already done. Like I said, I haven't seen this one in a while. Again, this journal is very basic, and I come across a belly band with a like tri-fold envelope, and it's very, very simple, but I absolutely love these. I love just the decorating on the outside. I love the look of the book page ephemera. I think I originally learned to make these from Pam at the Paper Outpost, who I'm sure you guys know and love. These are so easy to make. You're simply folding book pages onto themselves to create pockets and then simply gluing one to another in a way that basically they hinge. You can fold them up. We can make these one day. I'm probably not doing a very good job of explaining. It's hard to explain to somebody how to fold something, but I'm sure you can probably just look at these and tell how they were constructed. They're so much fun to make. I love mass making these. You can either keep them as removables or glue them into your journals and have them fold out that way, and it's such a cute way to keep little pieces of ephemera in your journals. So as I scroll through, you'll probably understand what I mean when I say very early when I first started journaling. These are so basic, and I think when I started journaling, I hadn't really gotten into mixed media stuff. I wasn't really sure even what mixed media was, and to be honest, when I first started journaling, I pretty much just glued things down to paper, and that's the majority of what I did, and that's okay. That's, a very relaxing style, a very relaxing way to journal. I'd like to think I've come a long way since then, but this is what I mean. Sometimes when you look back at what you've done before, only then can you realize how far you've come with your artistic styles and your artistic skills. So let's do a fall/harvest theme layout together. Fall is such a great time of the year here in North Carolina. We go out, we do a lot of things just because the weather is finally cool enough that we can bring our dog with us and it's not like absolutely stifling hot anymore. So I do like to, when I am doing the fall layouts, I do like to include a lot of pictures in my journal layouts if I can. And I feel like this is kind of a laid back enough journal that I really would like to include a lot of personal memories in it. Here you'll see me with one of the Michaels fall paper packs. I'm just getting some pattern paper out. I want to create a very simple layout here just with a pocket, something that will complement the plaid. I end up digging a couple of words out to fit the theme. I know I want to include a picture of us taking our dog out to a restaurant with us on a nice fall day. Put that in the background and leave a pocket there so I can do a little bit more journaling in a hidden spot. Well, okay, maybe not so hidden. After I picked out the picture we were going to use, I realized even after I crop it, it was still like a little too big to fit behind the pocket. So instead, I did my journaling up top, and I am going to include the cropped picture of him in the pocket. And for photos, if you guys are unfamiliar with photo paper, most of the time pens and markers don't, like the photo paper resists it. So if you do want to journal on the back of photos, you should probably back them with just some regular copy or other thin paper. That's what I plan to do. I'll probably journal a little bit more about the restaurant we went to and our experiences there and some other things that we did last fall. So guys, I know these were some very basic layouts, but I hope they inspired you to do some fall and Halloween journaling of your own. And I hope they gave you some good ideas as to how you can infuse some personal touches into your themed journals. If you enjoyed this and want to see more of Ink and Papyrus, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I can't wait to see you the next time.